There's been some controversy lately about politics. Obviously, there was the scuttlebutt that happened on Twitter between Crystal Ball and AOC about whether or not she was kind of falsely claiming credit for the workers' victory, given that she didn't come when she had spoken to you and told you that she was going to. And then there was an additional controversy more recently when you went on Tucker Carlson and he seemed eager to draw you into a conversation that was critical of AOC, perhaps more so than he was maybe substantively interested in talking about what happened at the warehouse.
So were you surprised that Sandy Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has said repeatedly that she's on the side of the worker against the corporation, wasn't standing with you at the barricades?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just her. It was all of them pretty much. It's not
fair.
Yeah. I don't want it to make it just between us and AOC because, a lot of them didn't show up. And, once again, we have no ill will against them. We know that whether they showed up or not, they didn't make or break our election. We just had to continue to organize.
What do you make of all of this?
I honestly, I don't even get involved with it. It's actually funny to me because, I see how Twitter reacts to certain things. I've done 1,001 interviews, but the 1 2-minute interview that I've done recently is the most that people have ever talked about. So it's just, for me, I don't get involved with that. AOC, yes, she canceled on us, but she wasn't the only one. But apparently that's what everybody's focusing on is her, obviously, because she's a big name. But she wasn't the only one. And none of them showed up. None of them showed up. And that's what I told Tucker. That's what I told anybody. Nobody, no politician showed up. The proof is in the pudding. We've been campaigning for over a year. And for the first time since we won, we're starting to get people to show up. So she's not the one to blame. I don't know the reason why. Somebody had to get that out of her. Get that out of all of them. If they want to ask, if they get the opportunity to ask, why did they cancel? I don't know. They told me it was a security thing. If we want to believe that, let's believe that. But if not, I don't know. They have to come clean on that. But this is why we have to hold them accountable as well. And that's all I'm doing is I'm doing what they asked us. They asked us to hold them accountable, and we holding them accountable. That's all we can do as organizers. We're going to do our work. They have to do their work. And if they didn't show up for us, we got to call that out. If we don't call it out, then, nothing gets changed. So I'm out of this whole situation, I'm happy that people are talking about it. But if they think that I'm the one bashing AOC, that is completely false. I had a great conversation when I met her in DC. Her team called me since all of this happened. We already made amends. They apologized. We'll see what happens in the future. I invited her to our rally next week. She shows up. Hopefully, she does. She does the right thing. There's plenty of time for her to get involved.
And what do you say to the people who are critical of the choice to go on Tucker Carlson, where I want to say that I think you comported yourself very well and resisted his temptations to go down a primrose path of ASD criticism?
Look, I'm going to tell the same thing I told the producers when they told me the questions that I'm going to be asked. I told them I'm not getting into it. I do interviews as they come to me if I have the capacity to do it. I don't look at it. To me, I didn't get on Tucker Carlson. I got on Fox. I focus on Tucker Carlson as an individual. I don't know shit about the man. Excuse my language. I don't know nothing about him. I don't pay attention to him. I don't watch the show. If I do an interview, I'm doing an interview to get the message out. That's for anybody, That's how I do interviews is, people reach out. I say, okay, they have my time. I got time to do it. I'll do it. I'm all about the workers and the messaging. Let Twitter and social media deal with that.
Yeah, I think that some people think we have choices about which show. Like, I'm going to call up Fox News and say I want to go exactly that program with exactly this guest so I can get my message out to exactly that number of people, as opposed to, taking what comes your way and trying to make the best of these opportunities. And Tucker Carlson's audience is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, on television. And again, in my humble opinion, I thought you handled it very nicely. I want to talk about what's coming up next. obviously there was this, somewhat scandalous brouhaha about who didn't and didn't show up and wasn't helpful last time. Tell me what you're preparing for and what would be helpful for the upcoming election.
Well, yeah, it definitely, once again, it's been a whirlwind of events and changes, and now everybody and their mother want to get involved. We've been getting calls from all over the world, all over the country, every single day from different people that wasn't there. So for us, we're trying to balance that. We got to balance and bring in people that's genuine. So we're going to once again walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. We got an election to run, we got contract negotiation, we got Amazon, objecting with 25 objections. I also got the separate legal cases trying to get certain folks their job back. Still trying to deal with my own legal battle. So there's a lot going on right now. And it's just trying to, once again, stay grounded with my team and keep everything intact because we do have to expand, obviously. And we already been contacted by pretty much every building in the country already. So it's about us making sure our infrastructure is good, making sure that we once again bringing in people that have the workers' interest, and then we're going to take things slowly. But I don't want to make any mistakes with this first contract and this first union being formed because I know that this is the catalyst for every other building in the country. And we have to make sure that, we just keep the workers in the driver's seat the entire time.
Well, help me understand what are the kind of mistakes that could be made? What are the things that could trip you up? What makes for a good contract? What are you pushing for right now?
Well, we don't want to lose focus on the workers' voices and, bring in, we're not affiliated with any established union, even though they're supporting us now. They're giving us resources, they're giving us money, office space, and all of the good stuff that we need to get started. We're letting it be known. We're not going to affiliate. We're going to make sure that we're completely independent. And if you want to help in any capacity, you're more than welcome to do so. And as long as we have that relationship with other unions and as long as we have that solidarity, we're able to form the Amazon labor union in a way where it'll be beneficial for everybody, even in other industries, because if we get a good contract, now they have leverage to say, well, that brand new independent worker-led union has a good contract. We should fight for a better one if we don't have one already. We can get a better contract because we supported them as well. So that's the type of relationship that I want to have with other unions. And then as far as us, we have our demands that we want to fight for. We're not guaranteeing anything, but we're guaranteed that we're going to fight for, our demands, which is $30 an hour, job security, better working conditions, better medical leave options, longer breaks, becoming a shareholder again. They stopped in 2018, getting monthly bonuses back, which they stopped in 2018. Providing the shuttle bus service so that workers can commute instead of spending 2.5, 3 hours commuting each way. Feeding the workers for free, taking their minimum of food and travel expenses off of them. There's the little things that we can fight for in the short term.
So what do you say to folks? Because I can hear them already in the back of my head. You say, oh, that sounds nice, but, the company will go bankrupt if they have to pay for all of that stuff. And there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Jeez. They think that Amazon that makes 600 and something million or $1 billion a day is going to go bankrupt. It's insane. JFK alone makes millions of dollars a day. Amazon is, once again, I haven't heard any facility closing down in 28 or 27 years, 28 years. What's happening is that people are looking from the outside in and not really understanding that Amazon already has unionized buildings in Germany, Italy as well. They can work with unions. They can do that overseas. What we're doing here in the U.S., yes, it's unprecedented, but at the same time, it's necessary. We're putting pressure on our politicians, the NLRB, to do better and change laws. You see how the new general counsel is trying to implement remedies that are helping workers organize. We saw the president mention that, he's coming after Amazon, whatever that meant.
Amazon, here we come.
He should have said ALU first, but, passing the PRO Act, if it doesn't happen, that means that he needs to sign some type of executive order. I don't see why it's stopping him from doing that, but these type of campaigns and the things that we're doing on the ground is changing and shifting the labor laws in this country at the same time. So, I think what you're going to see in the next few years, you're going to start to see more campaigns and more elected officials start to really hone in on the labor, and hopefully we'll get to a better spot.
Yeah, I just Googled it while you were talking, by the way, and Amazon makes over $638 million in revenue each day, $7,300 a second. So you're just talking about the labor laws changing, Joe Biden and the PRO Act, and kind of the lack of push, some might say, behind getting that done. Others will say it's Manchin and Sinema, and there's something that anybody can do about it. We have our own theories about that over here on Bad Faith. But a lot was made of Joe Biden's somewhat supportive comments of the unionization efforts in Bessemer. What do you make of Joe Biden's support, and has it been enough? Because he got a lot of plaudits for his supportive comments in Bessemer. Do you think he's setting conditions for successful labor activism in this country right now, given that he's a president who ran as the pro-labor commander-in-chief?
There's a difference between lip service and doing stuff. But, I'm happy that he's acknowledging it, especially at that last convention that he was at. I met with some of the presidents that were there in attendance, especially the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, when I went down to D.C. It's good to have that relationship leading all the way up to the highest plateau of power. But at the same time, we can't just applaud and be happy about what he said. He has to put his money where his mouth is and put something on paper that's going to help us. So once again, passing the PRO Act, don't just say pass the PRO Act. If they're not going to pass it, say I'm going to, put an executive order in so that there's some type of relief when it comes to organizing for workers. Because right now we don't have that. We're 40 plus UOPs, which is unfair labor practices, against Amazon since we started this campaign. And every day, every week that we go out there, we're racking them up. But these remedies don't get taken care of until our campaigns is way over. We're talking a year or two later. You saw how even with the mailbox situation, that should have been all right. That's immediately a violation. Let's rerun the election. But it took another year, almost a year. So it's like the process is very slow. And when you're talking about directing workers to use this process, how can you direct them to use a process that doesn't have any evidence that is really taking care of the workers? So that's up to the organizers to continue applying the pressure, but also the elected officials to make sure that they create a better process that seems to be outdated. These are the laws that have been implemented since the 1930s. We're in 2022.
Yeah, and I guess the concern must be that if there's an unfair labor practice and you report it or complain about it, but it takes a year plus for it to get remedied, and in the interim, you could be let go and fired. I mean, I think the way that these processes work presume that people can go these long stretches of time without an income. Like they can sit around and keep fighting these fights, even though they've been let go from their jobs, so they don't have to hustle and move on to find something else and direct their attention elsewhere, which is what makes it so remarkable that that's exactly what you did.
Right. Yeah, I'm sitting here right now as we speak, 2 years plus unemployed. So I have no income, but I'm still able to organize. And
so what have you been doing? How have you been staying afloat?
Well, the support of my organizers, my family, and every so often I may be able to get a stipend from talking to a college or something. But other than that, this is it. They understand what I'm sacrificing. for the greater good. So they understand by keeping me afloat is going to help the cause and the movement. So I'm fortunate enough to have people around me like that. But if I didn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation, And that's what people don't understand. It's like they're looking at, us being on media and TV as if we're getting paid. We haven't been paid for those, these interviews that I do. It's not about the money. It's about, getting the message out and spreading awareness and advocating for workers' rights. So that's why I continue along with, Amazon motivated me as well when they had their own smear campaign against me. So, it's really showing people, that whether you're unemployed, employed, you can do exactly what I'm doing, what we're doing here at Amazon with the Amazon Labor Union.
Do you have a fund that supports you or your team at all that people can support if they're listening and are interested?
Yeah. Our GoFundMe is on our website at AmazonLaborUnion.org. I do have a fund for myself, which is on my IG at Chris Smalls, but I don't even share that, because once again, it's not about the money. As long as I can continue to get up every day, have a couple of meals, but I can get out and organize, I'm fine, but it's more about the greater cause, which is if we can get our contract, we can get some salary for the organizers, including myself. So if I can fight as hard as I can to get to that point, to get here, what's another, whatever amount of time to get to a contract. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen after, we get the dust is settled with these elections.
So I don't want to belabor this, but I'm so curious about the nuts and bolts of how this happens, right? So if I am an Amazon employee in DC, because that's where I physically am, and I were to call you and I say, Chris, the conditions here are bad. I've seen what you've managed to accomplish. I don't know where to start. What should I do? What would you tell me?
Yeah, I would tell you, well, for one, I'm going to tell you don't do anything drastic and try to organize by yourself because they will get rid of you. They'll target you immediately. But what we're doing is we're actually telling workers who have contacted me or the ALU is to sit back and hold tight until we have a more in-depth conversation so that we can figure out a way to best get you started in your particular location, because every location is different. You're in a different community, so you're not going to be able to do what we've done in Staten Island and DC. So what we're going to do is have a national call. We're going to do that. We already put a tweet out. We're going to have a national call in about 2 months in June, where we're going to have every Amazon worker that wants to organize under the ALU chapter nationwide on this 4-day conference where we can explain how you can get started with laws, protect you with laws, what protections you don't have, where you can organize and where not to organize. We're going to set you up, hopefully, with some type of legal counsel that is in your particular district or area so that you don't have to pretty much search on your own. And then we have to provide some type of mutual aid fund that is nationwide where workers can start their campaigns, because you're going to need just a little bit of money. We didn't have much either. When we first started, we had nothing. We started a GoFundMe, but we know that GoFundMe is not really what you want to use. So we have an opportunity to create some type of mutual aid nationwide fund where we can all distribute to help campaigns out. That's what I think would be beneficial.
And what is the mutual aid for? Is it for people who are getting let go? Is it for kind of signage and flyers and?
Yeah, it would just be strictly for organizing. As far as any other financial stability, if they need something, we can provide that, but we don't want to get to a point where we're just giving out, money to people that just got fired because, they actually did something wrong. There's folks out there that want to organize against Amazon, but there's also folks out there that quit Amazon or they see what's going on. They want to get involved. So we want to make sure that we're vetting that so that we're just not giving out money. But we definitely, I can tell you with our campaign, we paid bills. We set up other people's GoFundMes. We helped find housing for individuals that were homeless. We paid, cable bills, transportation bills, whatever little things that we can do to alleviate, financial woes. We do that as well. But the mutual aid would be more so for getting their equipment, whether it's, tents, tables, literature, printing, even the shirts, things like that helps build up your campaign. We want to start with that first. And then as you grow in your facility, you start to meet different workers that may absolutely need some financial relief. Then we will start to help them out as well.
So in Bessemer, there were these conversations about, they were stopping people at this traffic light to try to talk to them because they weren't able to do so in the building, and then they changed the traffic light pattern so that they weren't able to do that anymore. What kind of techniques did you use in Staten Island to communicate with people and get past all of the union busting meetings and stuff that people were being subjected to on a daily basis? How did you counteract that? And what was the quality of those conversations? What did you say to people that helped get the message through?
Well, I can tell you, we didn't let no traffic light determine where we're going to stand or talk to workers. We just were more outspoken when it came to certain things. We didn't allow Amazon to dictate where we can organize. We set up shop at a public bus stop, number one. That's where the main artery is for the workers commuting. So those conversations was every morning. We were there to give them coffee, hot chocolate. In the summertime, we were there to give them cold waters. We had barbecues as well. At the time, we had fire pits, having s'mores, having, music out there. We created an atmosphere, a space where workers felt comfortable to go to. So for us, even it took several conversations. For us, even if you didn't talk to us or you didn't take our information, you saw us every day. And I go through it like this. Workers have a honeymoon phase. When they get hired with Amazon, they're like, oh, this is a great job. I'm getting paid more than I got paid in my last job. I get my benefit. So I let people go through that until they realize, like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. I'm on the station. They don't care about me. I don't even know who my manager is. I just got wrote up by a computer. I got an email saying, they're about to terminate me. I never even spoke to anybody. So I let people understand what's really the culture of Amazon before they even come talk to me. And then I could try to explain, this is the reason why we're out here. This is the reason why we're trying to form this union. And that helped the conversation a lot, not just being, on them like the way Amazon is. Amazon's so anti-union, they're drilling. We played more of the tortoise and the hare type of race. We said, let's be calm, cool, collected, and let workers feel comfortable to come up to us. If they don't want to take our information, we don't get aggressive with them. We let them come to us. I have workers 2 to 3 months into our campaign, wouldn't say a word, and then one day it just come out and sign up without even question.
And what's the atmosphere now these days?
Oh, it's been very positive. Ever since we won, I heard the day we won, there was chairs in both warehouses that were going with the election with now. LBJ5 was chairing as well. The organizers were eager to get back to the building. So when they got back, their coworkers were definitely, having a celebratory moment with them. And I think workers are just excited to see like the media attention. I think ever since we won, there's been cameras out at the building pretty much every day talking to workers. So they're just curious and anxious to see what this union is really going to do, which does put a lot of pressure on us. But at the same time, we had pressure on us for a very long time now, especially myself. So I think just trusting the process and seeing how we're going to collectively fight for a contract is also, exciting. So we just want to share this with well, everybody.
Well, you said that you weren't surprised when they lost in Bessemer. How confident were you that you were going to win in Staten Island?
Oh, I was 100% confident.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. And you asked me, if you'd asked me this 3 months ago, I told you we're gonna smack Amazon. And people know that. I said it from the beginning. I know how we organize. I know what we sacrifice. I know what we dedicated to organizing. And I know that Amazon doesn't know their workers the way we do. They can bring in as much as $1 million unit bus as they want. I would make fun of them. We made fun of them because they didn't look like New Yorkers. They didn't dress like us. They didn't talk like us. They had no.
What did they look like? How did they dress? How did they talk? Where were they from?
Oh my gosh. They were bringing in, Captain Colonel from Popeyes and AFC up there. I didn't know what I know they tried to target certain demographics by bringing in, they brought in a young female that was flirting with people. They brought in somebody from the UK. They're just bringing in people from all over the country. And it didn't make any sense to me. It's like, you're trying to convince people in New York that, don't sign up this union. They had no alternative solution to the combat in the captive audiences when people started questioning them. It's like, what are you going to provide? They're like, you're not even from here. You're not even from New York. So it's just backfired. And, even though it seemed like it was divided, most of the people that voted no. It was only misinformed. It wasn't because they didn't believe in the ALU. It's because they really was put in the captive audiences for several months, every 20 minutes. So, and these are people that just got hired at Amazon. So imagine walking in there your day 1, day 2, and they throw you into a captive audience and tell you don't sign up to ALU. Of course, once again, you're going to go through a period where you don't know. And you may just vote no because the company told you to. So, that's what we're dealing with and dealt with. I'm glad that once again, we were able to withstand that.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. Just a reminder that this is a podcast. You can catch an extra premium episode every Monday for $5 a month at patreon.com/badfaithpodcast. That's patreon.com/badfaithpodcast for $5 a month, an extra episode every week. Additionally, please do consider liking this video, subscribing to this channel. It helps us out. It helps independent media beat the algorithm. We appreciate you. And as always, keep the faith.